is part of that, but it's not like my main focus right now. And part of why it's hard for me to find videos is also because my YouTube channel, my ASMR channel revolves around books, and I don't read a lot of books right now, which is a shame because I love reading, but I also don't want to force myself. And yeah, but now I'm back with a book video. Maybe we'll also talk a little bit afterwards. Yeah, but first I will talk to you about the books that I read in November. I only read 2 books, which is like one of my lowest, one of my lowest count this year. But as I said, that's okay. I think both of the books that I read really set the mood for November. They kind of feel, or kind of go in the same direction in one way or another. I also have a tea. It's rooibos vanilla tea. And this is actually an old teapot from my mom. I think it's like a typical teapot where she comes from in northern Germany. But I'm not really sure if it's like really traditional, authentic, to be honest, even though I live very near from there, but I'm not that interested in, I don't know, old stuff from that region, to be honest. Okay, let's start with the books. The first book that I read, or that I finished in November, is Sturmhöhe. Sturmhöhe by Emily Bronte. And this is the German edition of Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights. I mostly read classics translated. I mostly read classic translated to German because, the style is different. There are words that aren't used nowadays, and I don't wanna torture myself while reading, so I feel like it's a good deal to just read a translation. And her name is Joanna June. If you speak German, you can check her out. I think she does really good book content. Yeah, and she has a book club, and they started reading this. And so I was like, okay, I feel like this is my sign to read it as well. And I was so surprised. I was very, very surprised because I already read Jane Eyre, which is by Charlotte Bronte. It's one of Emily Bronte's sisters. And many people love Jane Eyre, but I, to be honest, didn't love it. I think it was fine, but it's not like a book that I 100% enjoyed. So I was a bit, I mean, of course they aren't the same people, but nevertheless I was a bit skeptical reading this. Sorry, I paused for a second and changed. Yeah, of course they aren't the same people. Yeah, but I don't know. I expected something like Jane Eyre or maybe like Pride and Prejudice, which of course isn't really fair, but I don't know. And this, as I said, caught me completely off guard. I think it's also like gothic, or like in the genre maybe of like gothic fiction. It's very, very atmospheric. Of course, the title Wuthering Heights gives you an idea, but in my head I thought, okay, it's a love story and there are rich people, and it kind of is like that, but also very, very different. Yeah, okay, how can you explain this? So, the story takes place in England, and there is this land which is very stormy. Nature is really rough but also beautiful, and there are two houses from like rich families. One of the houses is Wuthering Heights, and the other house, how was it called? What was the other house called? To be honest, I can't remember. Yeah, I know that Thur's Cross Grange. Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of hard to explain what the story is about. So our main character, I say that in this marks because it doesn't really play a big role, but we are in his POV, and he buys Thur's Cross Grange, or at least he wants to live there. I mean, I don't know if he really owns it or if he just is this woman who like takes care of the house, and she tells him the story of the people that now live in Wuthering Heights. And she starts really in the past because she grew up with like one of the people that, or one man that now lives there, but also like other people. Yeah, she kind of was in the lives of, oh my god, it's hard for me to explain. You may realize, yeah, she just tells the story of the families that once lived in Wuthering Heights and Thor's Cross Grange. Some of them are still alive, but some of them are not. And yeah, the story we are told happens, or has already happened, because we listen to the story of this woman. And the story begins with a man that has two children, one girl and one boy. And one day he comes back from, like, I don't know, he was like at work or stuff like that. He was at work, and he comes back with a boy that has no parents, and that he wants, he wants this boy to live in his house as his son. And the story kind of goes from there. I don't know. It's really hard to tell what this book really is about. I really like this book. It has a lot of drama. It's sometimes very, very horrible, sad, crazy, brutal stuff happens. It's a very dark book. It's very, very dark, I would say. If you want likable characters, don't read this book. You won't really like any character, I would say. All of the characters are flawed. All of the characters are sort of evil. And yeah, it really is a special book, I think. Nature takes a big part in this book. I think the descriptions of the nature, that it is really wild, rough, is very, very beautiful. Yeah, and all in all, I can recommend it. I think it is relatively long. It's not objectively, it's not really long, but it kind of felt very long to me. But as I said, I was also not such a reading mood. And yeah, to be honest, I liked this one more than Jane Eyre, if you even want to compare those two books to each other. As I said, I think it's a bit unfair just because they were sisters to compare the books to each other. But I heard a lot of people do it, and many people like Jane Eyre better, but I really like this one better, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think atmosphere, and if you have like seasons, then November, December is very good time to read this book. Yeah, sorry for like my wild talking. Yeah, but I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a perfectionist. So you kind of have to keep up with that. Yeah. So, and then the next book, as I said, really fits the mood of the first one. This is called Wild Dark Shore. Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Charlotte, but yeah, you can read it for the people interested. Yeah, I pre-ordered this book a while ago. I mean, it's already out for some time, but not like in this edition. This is like the, I think, UK edition, which is most often the cheapest, or often the most often the cheapest edition. Yeah, so that's why I pre-ordered it. I think first only the US edition or something like that was out. Yeah, so Wild Dark Shore. This is an English edition, so as I already said, so I can read you the back. A family on a remote island, a mysterious woman washed ashore, a storm gathering force. Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny water-lashed island that is home to the world's largest seed bank. As Shearwater risks being lost to rising sea levels, the island's researchers have fled and only the salts remain. Until during the worst storm in living memory, a stranger washes ashore. The family nursed the woman, Rowan, back to strength, but it seems she isn't telling the whole truth about why she's there. And when Rowan stumbles upon sabotaged radios in a recently dug grave, she realizes that she's not the only one on the island with secrets. Yeah, so this is a book I was really excited about because I read a lot of literary fiction, which is rather told slow, and this sounds and was also like presented to me, I would say, as a thriller-esque, and yeah, but at the same time it was said that it's not really a thriller, it's also like general fiction or even literary fiction, I don't know. So I was kind of excited for this mix. Yeah, personal preferences that don't really fit this type of book. I'm not really a person that is very interested in finding out what happened, you know. I did not care that much. And what I really strongly disliked is that you are the POVs of all the people that are living on this island. Sometimes most often you are in Rowan's perspective. That is the woman that was brought on the island with a storm. But you also are in the perspective of the father and of the children. And of course, all the people know a part of the story. Rowan knows why she's there, but she doesn't tell us. The father knows stuff that happened on the island, but doesn't tell us. All of the kids know stuff that happened on the island, but they don't tell us. And I mean, us as a reader, and I don't know, for me that's kind of uncreative, because I feel like you use all the people's POVs to narrate your story, and your story only functions because you cut them down on what they present to us. I don't know, I would have liked more if we only had one POV. I mean, the POVs were kind of cool also on the other hand, because they were really different from each other. The POVs of the kids were very cute, very cool, because they really had different tones. But yeah, I don't know. As I said, I wasn't really interested. There were like plot twists, and I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like the book was really bad. I think it wasn't bad. What I really, really liked about it were, as well, in this one, the descriptions of nature. Nature is really a force in this book. Then also this book has some creepy supernatural elements that are not explained, and they don't take a big part in the story, but they just set a vibe for this book, which is really dark, mysterious, creepy, and I really like that. I don't need explaining on like creepy stuff, supernatural stuff. I really, really like it if it's just like a thing that just is the way it is. Yeah, I like this two aspects of the story. Yeah, I don't know. The rest, meh, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that I don't recommend it if you like thrillers, maybe check this one out. Yeah, also if you like the vibes that I just explained. The characters also felt kind of flat for me, but I am, as I said, I read a lot of literary fiction where the characters are like the most important thing in the story, and yeah, I don't know. But I thought it was kind of funny that I read 2 books where there was like a storm and wild nature and stuff like that, but yeah, the same thing as I said about the other book. If you live like in the northern hemisphere and you have seasons, then November, December is a perfect months to read this book, I guess. Yeah. Okay. And those were the two books that I wanted to show you. Somehow I talked for nearly 30 minutes. So yeah, there will be no rambling about other things. Maybe I will do another video where I just do some triggers and talk about some stuff I think about. But let's see. Yeah, I can also really recommend to stay active, stay aware of your world, of your surroundings. Reading is great and relaxing and stuff like that at home, but what I am trying to do is also building community, taking a part in things happening in the world. Yeah, taking responsibility. I don't know. But one step at a time. It's okay if you only need some relaxation right now. But yeah, maybe if you're interested, I could also talk about that, but I don't know. The thing with videos and just talking is that, of course, my vocabulary is relatively limited, and I feel like I can't really express my thoughts. And if I talk about like more important topics, then I want to be understood in the right way, of course. So I have to think about that. But yeah, okay. For now, I hope you are good, and I hope you could relax to this video. Yeah, I definitely think I will upload more videos, but not as regularly. So let's see when we will see each other again.